Peace and grand rising to the heirs. Today is November 18th, 2020. On the Gregorian calendar or Greco-Roman calendar, it's 1440 on the sun calendar and 1441 on the moon calendar. We are so grateful to be here. Let's see. Can you all see what's on the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Mine just disappeared, but I'll have to pull it up again. So the book that's on the screen is The Law of Nations. And we are, now that we know who we are, and now that we have made the progress that we've made, which is just amazing, amazing progress, we're looking now at our connection and taking our place among the affairs of men, which is what we were supposed to be doing all along, but our ancestors knew what they were doing when we stopped doing that. They knew that we needed to grow and come together and unify, and they've made it so that we're able to do that now. And so now that we've done that, I would recommend, highly recommend, that we start reading books like this, The Law of Nations. The book is a bit, it's hypothecated because it's not written by us, but it's another work that must be decapitalized, and it's going to have to be decolonized and decapitalized, because it is, they did their best to write it. All they did was take the original and rewrite it in the way that they could, because they can't write it the way we can, or else that would be attempting to be God, and you can't. They're not allowed to do that. So they have to write it using capital letters and all of that, and then we have to be competent to decapitalize and decolonize the work and put it back in its original form. So that is a part of the whole reversion of the state process, is when we take the writings and put them, anything, no matter what it is, including our seal, we've taken our seal and put it back in its original form. That's the form that it was in previously, where it was in all lowercase letters. And in red. So now that we have done that with things like the seal, we have some who've done it with the treaty, we have some who are doing it with the Constitution, etc. We have to do it with everything. The public laws have to be put back in all lowercase letters and decolonize. Everything in the Library of Congress has to be rewritten back to its original form, which, again, that's going to take a while for us to do, but we can do it. Because guess what? We have nothing else to do in terms of, we're not going back to citizen status. So we have to write things and make everything so that it's applicable to the sovereign. This book is about the law of nations, or principles of the law of nature applied to the conduct and affairs of nations and sovereigns, with 3 early essays on the origin and nature of natural law and on luxury. And I found it a little bit interesting that they put the word luxury there. That's very interesting, because to me, I was thinking, what does luxury have to do with the law of nations and all of that? So when I look up the word luxury, I kind of had a feeling there was going to be something in there, or I have a feeling there's going to be something in there that we're not accustomed to seeing, or that they did not tell us was the meaning of the word. The oldest unabridged meaning of luxury is exuberance of growth, gratification, delight, enjoyment. The unusual intellectual or emotional pleasure derived from some specified thing. So once we get into, as we continue in alignment with the law, because we're in alignment because we know who we are, but as we continue in alignment with being in alignment with the law, the luxury comes with it. The pleasures come with it. I'm amazed that that's there, because who would have thought that a book on natural law and the law of nations would talk about that and have that in the forefront of it? So we're not doing what we're doing specifically for that. However, that is a byproduct of us being ourselves on our own land. Then comes the relief. The relief comes when we are being ourselves on the land. So even the Albions who rewrote that, after looking at our original writings, know what that means and what it means for us to be ourselves. They've had the opportunity to experience a little bit of that, but any luxury that they've experienced while pretending to be us is nothing compared to what we will experience when we are ourselves. And again, we're not doing this with that being our goal. That's just something that happens as we continue to be ourselves, because there's much greater things that we have to do and look forward to and put our minds on. So the reason that our estate is as vast as it is because of what we have to do. We have a monumental calling, all of us. It's so much greater than where we are today that it's just, some cannot fathom it at this point. At some point they will be able to, but I don't think any of us can fathom the greatness of who we really are. And we're that already. But in this coming age that we've just crossed into, we actually get to navigate our way to that. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. So, some people come into this with that being their only goal because they heard they were the heirs. And they soon find out that being the heirs has a greater responsibility to it than just luxury. But it says it right there. And also I noticed that it says the law of nations, or principles of the law of nature, apply to the conduct and affairs of nations and sovereigns. A sovereign is a nation first. And then as we unify and continue to unify, rather, and join together, then we become and we are a nation of sovereigns. But each one of us is a nation simply because, especially the empresses, because we birthed the nation. And that doesn't take anything away from our sons. It just is. It is, that is a fact. Because all comes from us. And we don't really even spend a whole lot of time on emphasizing that point because it's very, very obvious and clear. But I looked through some of the chapters that are in the book, and I'll just read through some of the interesting titles of the chapters in the book of things that we're going to want to know about. So here, let's go to the table of contents. In the preliminaries, what is meant by a nation or state? Number 3 is definition of the law of nations. And in what light nations or states are to be considered. To what laws nations are subject. In what the law of nations originally consists. And number 8 says it is immutable. The law of nations is immutable. That means you can't silence it. It's going to be there and it's not going anywhere. Number 9 says nations can make no change in it nor dispense with the obligations arising from it. And I'll have to read that part because we as God can change whatever we want to change. So we'll have to look at that part and pull it apart and go to the ancestors within us and talk about that because there's nothing that we can't change because we created everything. But we will, and that's going to be, of course, there'll be some little bit of back and forth and debate among the heirs about that. But we'll look at it. We'll look at it and see, because there are things that we observe and honor between one another that are unbreakable. We do have an obligation to one another. That we honor and observe, that we don't break, and that's all a part of our sovereign status is our honor towards one another and with one another and for one another. Number 22 is important among all the others, is right of nations against the infractors of the law of nations and what happens there. The authority of the body politic over the members. I'll have to look through that. I have to read it. And it's suggested that others read it too. Now again, this is not a Bible. It's a writing. It's a book. And again, it must be decolonized and decapitalized, because when we look up the definition of sovereign, well, and let's look that up right now. Again, we know that a sovereign, there it is. Okay. Sovereign. A sovereign as a noun and a sovereign as an adjective. We are nouns. We're not adjectives. And as a noun, a sovereign is one who exercises supreme power, a supreme ruler, having the highest authority in a state, such as a king, emperor, queen, a monarch. A sovereign is also defined as a group or a state that possesses sovereign authority. Sovereignty is even a noun. The state or quality of being sovereign. The status, dominion, rule, or authority of a sovereign. Supreme and independent political authority. I mean, it doesn't get any more plain than that. And when you are the supreme authority, as are all of us, each one of us is that. And so when we're reading works such as this Law of Nations, we have to also keep in mind that we're not in the situation of, like many of us came up in the church. And we, some of the places that we went, they kind of hit us over the head with that Bible and to keep us in line and keep us doing what they wanted us to do, in many instances. And I'm not saying all, but I'm saying many instances. They use that Bible to you couldn't do anything outside of what they wanted you to do. And meanwhile, others were doing whatever they wanted to do. And again, that's not a put down of the church per se. It is what it is. That's the way that it was for many of us. So the Law of Nations, where sovereigns are concerned, and this is something that we have to be aware of as well, there are other nations of the earth who are party to the Law of Nations. However, and I'm going to say this because it just is what it is, we are the primogenitors of all. We wrote all and started all, everything. So that's why we're the only ones who can change things. But we've also, because of that, we also started honorability and being in honor when we do change or, write or rewrite something, anything. And that has a lot to do with even how we're actually being groomed in that manner already. The grooming in that manner is where we're learning to write. All of us are exercising our sovereign authority by affidavit, where we write the laws and then we give them to other people and say, follow this, follow that, follow this. This is the law. I'm the government. I'm the law. We are the government. And I said I, but I mean we all. And I was thinking in terms of when I write my affidavit, that's what we all say is we're the law, we're the government, this is the law, and you have to follow it. And it's because we wrote it. We are the law, we are the government, all of us. And so we're being groomed now to govern entire estates, all of us. That's how vast the estate is that we each have our own dominions and then we govern all dominions together. We govern all dominions together. That's what the Law of Nations and Governments is all about, and the authority of sovereign. So it's going to be important as we continue to grow and rise. If we only knew what we're really being prepared for, then a lot more of us would be excited about what we're doing it wouldn't seem like a chore for some. Because, sometimes, and it's understandable, sometimes, Moors get tired and don't want to demonstrate anymore because they've run into a situation that they didn't think was optimal. But if you only knew that this is the proving ground for the vast estate, this is the proving ground. This is where sovereigns are made, and we're born sovereign. So I use that as with a different perspective on it. We're sovereign, and we'll never not be sovereign. But this is where the rubber meets the road with the sovereign. Who is fit to govern? Who is it? The estate is so vast that we have to be able to trust one another and be trusted to govern fairly. And the reason this is coming up now for many is because we're there now. We're there now. And for some, it may not feel like it. It may not seem like it. And some days it doesn't feel like it or seem like it. But we know that it's the truth. We can tell by the way everything is unfolding and unwinding that we're there now. And so, are there any questions about the law of nations or any demonstrations and how this fits and what this is going to look like as we move forward?
Islam, Empress Alexandra. I just want to say that it's not going to be an easy road at first, but you have to know that you've been chosen. And if you've been chosen, you have all the equipment and all the tools that it takes to complete the journey. And you were selected by your ancestors for a reason. And so sometimes we run into situations that we don't like, but we have to look at the healing part of it for ourselves and people that will benefit from whatever we're going through, and just keep going through. Don't stop. You can slow down, but don't stop, because you have a reward it has your name on it. No one else can get the reward, but you have to complete the task. I yield.
Islam. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All of the stuff they told us over when we were in church is actually applicable now. And the great thing about that, too, is that we don't have to wait until until we die in order to reap the reward of what we're doing. Hang on just a second. I'm hoping that the screen stays on. Yeah, it hasn't been anything like what we were used to previously. It has not been any of that. Hasn't been anything like that. It's been just something that we could have never imagined. But just as I was talking to some of the Moors the other day,
there are 9 participants in the conference. The recording has started.
Just one second.
Please announce yourself.
Hang on just a second. Let me pull up the law of nations here. Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay. This is nothing like anything anyone could have ever told me. I never thought at any given time that this is who we are and what's going on and any of that. No one could have ever told me that was the case. And now we know, that is the case and that we really are who we say we are. I mean, I've learned so much about when I first started demonstrating, the first thing they said was, we don't know anything about that. We don't know anything about that. And then when you hear that for the first time, it's almost like you feel something in the pit of your stomach go, what? You don't know anything about it? And then at first it would have caused us to question ourselves. What are we really doing? But the more we studied and the more we demonstrated, we soon found out that they're actors and that is what they say until they stop saying it, until we're convinced and we know who we really are. And when we know who we really are, they stop saying that and they say something different. Like, whatever they say. I don't even know what they're saying now. I don't even know what they're saying. Because one thing they don't do is deny who we are, because we've demonstrated, there's so many of us demonstrating, and so many of us doing the things we're doing in terms of the different demonstrations that we have going on in our nation. So, I think I have a question for you all, too, in terms of how are things going in your territories, because it's actually good to hear, good or bad. It doesn't matter the nature of it. But how are you feeling overall about knowing who you are, and how are your kin responding? And how is it going in the territory? You all get to hear about what's going on in our territories quite often, and sometimes, it's good to hear about the other territories too.
Islam. Okay, so I have something to share. With my grandson being abducted by CPS, the apartment manager where we stay at, where he got abducted from, and CPS and the police and everything, so they're all collaborating to clean up what they did. They know they're in error, and they know they did it to Moors who are awake, and so they're trying to put things in their favor. And I noticed, okay, so they would always try and serve one of my daughters something. They would come in undercover clothes to try and serve them something. And I keep saying, why won't they just mail it? Why do they keep trying to put it in their hands? And even a couple of days ago, they put something on the door, and there was 3 packages with our nom de guerres on it. And so I jimmied it open, and I closed it back when I was finished and put it back on the door, because I just wanted to see, what they were talking about. And the management got a restraining order well, they are petitioning for a restraining order to say that that we're on the Southern Property Law Center website as extremists, and so that is the basis of their restraining order to say that she feared for her life and all that kind of stuff because we leaned them and did the court action and said, you know, and so they know that the provost marshal, they're in queue. They know they're in queue. And so they're saying that they are afraid of us, and that, you know, and when I looked into read the details of the restraining order, she said, you know, it's psychologically damaging for her to know that, you know, we leaned her and all that kind of stuff. And so wow. I just keep thinking to myself, like, you know, what are they doing, you know? And why everything has to be, they always try to catch one of my daughters with the one whose son was taken, Havaya, she jogs. So she said one day she was jogging and she just heard somebody with labored breathing behind her. And then she looked back and somebody was trying to serve her, but they got tired, so they said, "You've been served," and put the paper on the ground. Oh goodness! And you know, it's just like it's and in that restraining order, it said that next they'll be serving as a unlawful detainer. But this has been going on for three months at least, and it's like, why don't they just get on with it? You know?
Because they can't.
Yeah, they know they can't. But you know, so all they can do is just try to mess with our psyche, because that's where it starts at, and that's where it ends at. So they have helped us strengthen our minds, gave us confidence in who we are, and so that's our growth, and that's our test through this. Just dealing with them. They're our little exercise. And they even put in the restraining order that I emailed them about my car because the management tried to put something on my car and say it's going to get towed because I don't have the proper authority. You know, I wasn't authorized to park there. So they put that in the restraining order as part of their, I guess that's part of her, where she's mentally messed up at. Because my car's
now, mind
still
you, they're still talking to corpses. They're not even talking to you.
Yes.
They know that. But they need you all to consent to being the corpse. That's why they keep trying to serve. They keep saying, please don't be living. Just consent to be dead, and we can get on with it. But as long as you keep letting them know you alive,
they dead in the water.
They can't move.
And so
they can't do anything.
That's what they've been trying to do. They won't mail anything. They keep trying to make contact with us. And so Avaya, she said, I just wanted to know what was in the hand, because they tried to serve us. They knocked on the door to try to serve us. Mm-hmm. And so then she said they had 3 thick stacks of paper in their hand, and then like each stack had a pink sheet on top, a pink cover sheet. So she said she answered the door, and they asked for all of us, and she said, nope, that's nobody here. That's nobody here.
Correct. No dead corpses there.
And so she said they walked away with their shoulders slumped, you know? Like, they just walked away. So like a week later, then they came and decided to try and stick the packages on the door. But I was like, wow, look at that. They really need that consent. They really need it. Because otherwise,
we don't give it, they don't get it.
Yep. And that's it. I just, my mind is blown.
That's powerful, Empress.
Yeah.
That's very powerful.
But I like it because that was, you know, otherwise, you know, you just don't even know what's going on out there. You don't know what's going on in their heads out there. But they let it be known, you know. And this lady talking about she feared for her life, and she wants a restraining order against us. We said the
What
provost
life?
marshals.
She's
Yeah.
a corpse. What life is she talking about?
Really? If anything, she should have been talking about putting a restraint on the provost marshal, because that's what we said was coming for you, not us.
Right, right.
So go restrain him. You know? we know they can't, but yeah, they doing all they can do. They doing all that we can do. So we sleep pretty good off up in there now, because it's just been.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can be alive all day long, so they're never going to get any consent.
Right. This is mind blowing. And then when they tried to get a temporary emergency restraining order, it was denied, and the paperwork didn't have any de facto judge on there or anything like that. So I'm like, what are they doing? What do you just leave it alone? The best thing to do is acknowledge that that's who we are. This is our land, and we want to live in peace. I mean, you know, they tripping me out, but at least we're good, you know.
Yeah.
We're good, and we know it.
And you know what? You actually didn't even need a provost marshal to be good. You did that yourself.
Yeah.
You know, to me, that's the beauty of all of this is, you know, yes, the provost marshal is good. That's a thing. That's coming.
Yeah.
But even before the provost marshal gets there, when we properly demonstrate our sovereign status, they can't do anything.
They can't do nothing. And they know it.
They know it.
Gonna try and put in a report about my car. Yes, I said my car is out of jurisdiction, and what? And I said don't touch my car or conveyance.
And it's actually never out of jurisdiction because it's your conveyance.
Right. I mean it was out of their jurisdiction.
Yes, it is out of their jurisdiction. Yes, Islam.
Yeah.
Islam. Empress, that's just powerful. That's very powerful because, you know, in times past, if they would have showed up with one piece of paper, we would have been fell out and did whatever they wanted us to do.
Yep.
Now they got stacks and stacks and stacks of paper, and it means absolutely nothing.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I was really surprised they tried to give us, because that was a psychological thing, to try and make that restraining order look thick, like they really had, you know?
Yes.
It's like that's
all
crazy.
they've ever done is use psychological operations to steal our, to make us abandoned.
Yes. And then said the unlawful detainer is on the way. You put that in the lane. Well, come let it. I don't even understand why you gotta announce it. Just do it.
Well, they're not talking to you, so no matter, they might as well take it down to the local cemetery and serve somebody that's laying up in there. And I'm just saying, she's scared for her life. What life? I mean, they're the ones that's supposed to have all the whatever.
That's right.
They got all these people that they call and all this and that.
You're right. You're making a point.
Why are you scared?
You're making a point. Oh, that's right. They got all that on their side. What is she pooping bricks for? All right. Well,
because they really don't have nothing.
Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely.
Don't have anything.
Wow.
And it's only by our word.
God.
You didn't have to pull out a gun. You didn't have to threaten. You didn't have. All you had to do was put that law there and be yourself.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, because in the restraining order it said they said, do you have any evidence of them being violent towards you? And she said no, but the Southern Poverty Law Center says they're extremists. So it's
that's
okay.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, and I'll say this right here out in the open. The Southern Poverty Law Center is a useless corporation anyway. It's not doing anything. It doesn't have anything to do with the living. It's talking about the dead because they're dead too.
Yeah.
So, of course, a corpse can get another corpse to say something stupid.
Right. Instigate.
And they're not even talking about us. They're using capital letters to talk about Moors. Well, that doesn't exist.
Right. Wow.
That's why they're the Southern Poverty Law Center. They're the ones that are poverty stricken, not us.
Yes.
With that language they're using over there.
Yes.
And we're not mad at them. We love them.
Yes.
We love them.
Yeah.
They serve their purpose.
Yeah.
We're not at war with them either. They got to get in their rightful place too when we know who we are.
Yes, they do.
That
foolishness.
report that she's talking about has been up there for years and years and years and years, sitting up there trying to scare somebody.
Yes. Yep. And then I looked at. They said the Moorish National Republic federal government is listed as extremist. So I just looked to see if it was there. It's not there. So why you even got to lie? Why you
of course they got to lie. And when they say the Moorish National Republic federal government, of course they're using capitalism to say it.
No, they didn't. Not in that report. They put in all caps.
It was in black ink.
Yes, it was
in all caps. You said it was in all caps.
It was in all small caps. I mean, it was in all small letters, lowercase. They did do that.
Yeah, but it was in black ink.
Yes,
it was in black ink. I saw the report. It was black ink. They think they're slick, and that's actually a change in the report that they made.
Yes,
that's a change.
Yeah.
Even the Pope, the fake Pope, the corporate Pope, wrote things in black in all lowercase letters. That I saw for myself.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I shared that and I yield. That's all I got.
You're very powerful. That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Thank you, Ms. Mom.
They don't have anything. If they don't have it, they just don't have it. They need to go on somewhere.
Yeah, they do.
The Bibliotext says they'll come at you one way and flee from you 7 ways.
Yes. Yep.
And you done hit just about all 7 of them, Empress.
Yes. Poor thing. I wasn't trying to injure nobody. I was just turning my body, and I hit a couple of people. I wasn't even aiming at nobody. I was just turning normally and took a couple of people out in my turn.
With the law. That wasn't even physical. That was coming out your mouth.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you brought more clarity to that, because what are you afraid of? Because she couldn't make no claim that we did anything wrong. Because it said, okay, well, do you got any information or something to support that you're saying somebody came at you violently? And
it's crazy that the courts didn't even come violent, and because again, they're not talking about you anyway. But they couldn't even point to their own courts and make up some stuff. That's crazy.
They could. Yeah. They could. Yeah. So again, I yield.
Islam, Empress. Thank you for that. Islam.
Islam.
That's amazing. Amazing once again. The bloodline and the birthright. It is what it is. And that's not going to get any better for them. All the way across the board, that's not going to get any better for them. All we have to do is know who we are. That's not going to get better. It's going to get a whole lot better for us. Thus, what we brought up at the beginning of the sharing session is the law of nations and of luxury, whatever it said there on the book. Let me go back and read that. The law of nations, or principles of the law of nature, applied to the conduct and affairs of nations and sovereigns, with 3 early essays on the origin and nature of natural law and on luxury. And to me, it is quite luxurious when we don't have to worry about them calling for backup and us being worried about their backup and blah, 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 when we know we haven't done anything unlawful. That goes back to, you know, what I was saying in the very beginning, and I've said this many times previously, is I was asking the ancestors, how do we get past that big, hairy looking thing called policy enforcers and fake courts? Well, that's how you do it. Empress Chapali just showed you how to do it. Be yourself, that's it. And know that they're not talking to you. And continue to invoke sovereign jurisdiction, and don't take nothing from them, because courts can't hand the living anything. That's why they're always trying to hand you something, because if you take it, then that means you've agreed that they have the authority to give it, and they don't. They're not even alive. Talking about she's worried about her, she fears for her life. Why? What life? You're a corpse. Be that. Don't talk about life. You don't know about life. We're the living. You're not. We know that. So you can't really even talk about life. The only way she could have talked about life, whoever that corpse was that said she feared for her life, the only way she can talk about life is if we thought we were the same as them. Then she might have a claim. But she doesn't have a claim when the living is standing and breathing and speaking. And that's why we keep doing what we're doing. We're going to keep speaking. We're going to keep putting the spells out there. Because look at what it has done. Now, all of a sudden, a corpse is scared. But we know corpses lie, too. Corpses have nothing to fear from us. They're already dead. How are you afraid of anything when you're already dead? We don't even have to kill you. That's why we don't need weapons. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're not fleshly weapons, but mighty through the pulling down of strongholds. A hold is something that's not the real thing. If you're holding it, that means you don't own it. That means it looks like it's strong. But apparently someone can pull it down with something that's not even physical. That's amazing. Well, we have about 5 more minutes to go, and then we'll close out. But Empress, let me see what in the chat. Empress Alexandria says, the Biblios even says, do not commune with the dead. We have nothing to do with them. We have, Empress, that is never a truer statement. We have nothing to do with them. That's like going down to the cemetery and starting to chit-chat and talk and invite the corpses over for tea. And then the corpses are, and it's like a corpse can't do anything for you or to you when you know you're the living. Why would you even spend time at a cemetery? And yes, the walking dead is a real thing. That's a real thing. They didn't put that out there that many times for us not to pay attention to it. And I'll tell you this, every time we go out into the territory, there's always 1 or 2 of them that want to stop and talk. Why do they want to stop and talk? To see if I know whether they're dead or not. Complete stranger corpses. Oh, I like your hair, your headdress. since when did corpses talk? I'm like, whoa, what? Yeah, Empress, go ahead.
Islam. I got one more. So my other daughter, she got her daughter back, and the dad has been sending the police to come to do wellness checks like every week. So we always have police knocking on the door. And at first he wasn't answering until one time the police tried to climb through the window. So we got to get out of that apartment. It's just too small. Just the access is just way too easy. But anyway, so he tried to serve her, and then he took her to court for full custody, and he won because she didn't go. So then a DA investigator called her and left a message and saying that he wanted to discuss her returning her daughter to the dad. And she was like, wow, how come they don't just say, the judgment was, this is the judgment, we're coming to pick up the child at this time. Why are you leaving it to me to come return my child, So, but they didn't say that they would come and get her. They said that they wanted her to return the child. So, she, first, because they were talking about he won the judgment, when you suggested that she do like a 2-minute video, she did it. And then she sent some other information to them so that she sent it to the DA investigator so that they know what steps she took. And then we didn't hear from him no more. So, but this is the thing. So they were sending the police to do the wellness check. And then they sent a CPS worker to her house, and this is from another county. So she's out of her jurisdiction trying to gain access to the child. And a couple of times she came, and the first time she came, she looked through that window while we were in the house because we didn't answer the door. You ain't got to. She didn't announce herself, or nobody know who she. So we didn't ask her. So then she looked in the window and spoke to my granddaughter. So then I slammed the window down and closed the shades. Like, you going too far here. If I answer the door, you don't do that. But anyway, and so then she came back with the police. Still didn't get the child. Oh, they tried everything. So they were doing the wellness check, and then they would send a CPS. And then when he took her to court, he got a judgment for full custody. And then the DA investigator tried to contact my daughter regarding it. She sent them information. We ain't heard from him no more. And then a CPS worker come and put something on the door. She's trying to gain access. And so she put something on the door. And so I'm laughing like, why are you going backwards? Why are you going back to the CPS? Where the police at? Didn't this man wasn't he awarded full custody? Why are you supposed of a corpse that is not the heir? Come on now, that's And Empress, I don't mean to laugh, but it's just, to me, I'm just like, they need to go on to the cemetery and lay down. They do. You know who you are. Yes. And so somebody has been calling from the other county. They, my daughter's voicemail isn't set up, and so they just call. And I was like, at least the district attorney investigator, he texted when he couldn't leave a message. So, I mean, this is hoping that you will be the dead. They want you to be the dead so bad. Yes. And this is as far as it got. So somebody is calling and not communicating any other way. But I just think it's the dad calling out of frustration because he did all of that and no child. you know. And I'm blown away by that too, you know. Because how you go from, you know, the police come and doing the wellness checks, then you go to court and for a judgment and you win, and nothing, you know, nothing. They won't even fix their mouth.
Are not valid.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go down to the cemetery and render your judgment down there. Render your judgment to someone laying down at the cemetery and get it over with, because that's not, you know. Yes. That's crazy.
If they still fresh, get their thumbprint or their footprint or something, you know.
All of that. Dig them up. Dig them up and get what you need from the dead, because that's all you're going to get, you know.
Yeah.
That's how valuable our heirs are too, Empress. Look at all the hours they put into trying to get the heir.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Yep.
And all the people.
Yes.
All the actors.
Yes. And it's all by consent, because without us consenting, I mean, they're just dead in the water. I mean, they try, you know. They try and leave stuff, but if we're not consenting to anything that they do, they just, look, I'm expecting the police to come bullying. You know, I'm expecting, nobody's coming.
They can't.
They can't.
They can't.
Yeah.
And to me, Empress, that was the big hairy thing that I was asking the ancestors about, that they said all you got to do is be yourself.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because I was like, you know, when I first woke up, I was thinking there's no way we can get past that, but ancestors made it so we don't even need a gun to get past it.
Yeah. Yep. Just be yourself. Be true. Be all law.
That's it. Be alive and not dead.
Yeah.
And see, more need to know that. And they're getting there. Man, I'm so proud of our nation. I'm so proud of our nation.
Great.
Because so many. Yes. We're all getting there. We're all getting there together. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. We're getting there together.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But Empress, you know, that has a lot to do with the cleansing, October 31st cleansing too, that you and I talked about.
Yes, yes,
it has a lot to do with that. A lot to do with that. The energy clearing that you and your Empress were willing to do, and you did it. And look, it has everything to do with the energy.
Yes, yes, it does. Oh, we had to. That's what we needed to have clarity on.
Yes. Yes.
On the importance of that.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Well, that's my last bit of information.
Empress, thank you so much for that. The Moors need to hear those kinds of things in the territories. We need to hear everything that's going on in the territories. It's really good to hear those too. And then any issues that are going on, because we've been talking about that same issue, off and on, you and I, about all of that. And it's just, they as long as we keep our energy clear and we're peaceful, they can't do anything.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. And that's huge. That's easy to do.
Yes, it's easy to do. It's easy to do because it's just jurisdiction. That's it. You're just not in that jurisdiction. Period.
Right. Yeah.
Neither is the heirs.
Yep.
And then we have to just make sure that we stay out of that jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Period. They can't do anything with that. The sovereign jurisdiction rules the earth.
Yes.
Period. And I don't care if we're in China territory, Africa territory, the North Pole territory, the South Pole territory. Sovereign jurisdiction rules the earth.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And we are the sovereign jurisdiction, so it don't matter where we go, that's it.
Right. It's so sad that they fight against it, but I know that people have learned to act well, what's in it for me? You know, if you know what's in it
Yeah.
for you, then you calm down. But if you see somebody else, you know, having some kind of success or, you know, or access to, you know, people get upset until they find out what's in it for them. Then they cool. So, so
Or
I
when
can
they
understand.
realize what's really in it for them, because sometimes people come looking for $100 million in gold-backed lawful currency today, you know,
Right.
when they can't even get past the ticket.
Right. Yes. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what I've been, you know, if somebody gave some $100 million in lawful coinage, the policy enforcers knock on the door and they'll give it all to them.
Yes,
Scared.
they would. Yes, they would.
And that's why we have to do this part first.
That's right. Because that gold and silver part is the fluff to me, because just the freedom of them leaving us alone, and we have access to our resources. That's well, can't really get no wealthier than that.
No, you can't get any wealthier than that, because guess what? That means we have access to all resources.
Yep.
All of them.
Yep. And that's what the money thing is about. So if you got access to your resources, then you don't need to try to generate money for it. You know, it's a process that we can get around or eliminate.
Yes.
Really.
Yes. 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 That's, to me, that's priceless that we can see that now.
Yeah.
That we can create our own money at any time. We can print that up.
Yeah.
At any time. But we have to be able to keep whatever it is that we get access to.
Yep.
That's what this time period is for.
Yes, understanding that part.
Yes, and some are not, they don't want to hear that part.
Yeah.
Some don't want to hear that part. They don't want to hear
Right.
that you actually have to be able to get past policy enforcers right now in the situation that you're in before you can get access to any of that other. Because when you get past all of that, you created access to it, because no matter what you go for, they can't bother you.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Wow.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. So, I look at, how many people get it and how many people don't. And I know the Bible said that, our salvation is on a single individual basis. If you get it, then that door is open for you. But if you don't, you're still stuck in that situation. And then it also says that only a remnant will be saved. It's like, it says that my people are more than the sands of the sea, but only a remnant shall be saved. So when I see a lot of people don't get it, I'm okay with that. I just know that's just what it is.
Well, I'm asking the ancestors to make it so that way more get it.
Yeah.
Because, we want as many of us to be saved as possible. But we do. But we have to save ourselves. We have to be willing to save ourselves. Can't nobody else save.
Yep.
You know? And that's another reason why I think it's important that what's going on in the territories gets out there, so that we can see and know that we can get beyond the big boogeyman looking thing and be ourselves.
Yes.
So that we can access whatever we need to access.
Yes. Yep.
Now, if this is going on now and this is the grand rising, can you imagine a year from now?
Right.
A year from now, come on.
Yep, already.
There's going to be so many of us that walk right into all that is ours.
Yes.
So many of us.
Yes.
And all we have to do is be bold enough to, okay, do what we're doing. We got to get past that.
Yep.
The street gatekeepers, supposedly, presumably, because that's not really who they are. You know.
Yes.
Empress, thank you for sharing that story, and I'm just hoping that more and more hear that story and are able to hear your testament and gain from it what they need in order for them to rise to that whatever occasion they need to rise to.
Right.
And they will. I know they will. In fact, we're putting that spell out there right now.
Yes, we are.
That all more to hear this testament and this sharing session, that they will be inspired to demonstrate their sovereign status as soon as possible and as powerfully as possible with as much success as possible.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, with that, I think we can, we'll not terminate, because I don't like to see, I'm trying to look for other words other than end.
Adjourn.
Yes, we can adjourn until tomorrow. We have our Thursday call at 7 p.m. This call being during the day is a lot more casual than the 7 p.m. call. And on the call in the coming weeks, we've been putting the word out. In the coming weeks, we're going to be doing some things where our bank, our moorishe bank, is concerned. Those things they're in the works, and we're going to have a presentment in the next couple of weeks so that we can all look at the presentment and agree on some things that have to do with that bank presentment as a nation, and go from there. We have that must be done. We have to get our bank restored. So, and it's restored. It's restored, but there are other precepts and concepts and tenets that must be put in place. Mainly the agreement of the nation to do what we're doing, so that we can all grow from it. We need that. We need that really badly. And the reason that that's coming up is because of the testaments like the one you gave, Empress. Now that the ancestors know that we're willing to get beyond those who would have scared us into abandonment and induced us into fraud, we're no longer being induced to fraud. We're no longer dealing with being so scared that we abandon our vast estate. We're staying and standing and being ourselves. And so now the other things can come. It won't be an overnight process, but it will come as we continue to stand and continue to get beyond boogeymen, perceived, presumed boogeymen on our land. And with that, we will adjourn and come back again on Thursday. Our calls are every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, which is 9 a.m. Pacific. Every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 4 p.m. Pacific. And every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, for 3 p.m. Pacific. Those are our call days. Peace and grand rising to the heirs. Islam.
Grand rising.
Islam. Grand rising.
Peace and love. Islam, peace and love. Grand rising to the Moors and the heirs.
Islam. Grand rising.